All right, get ready because today we're diving deep into something you might not expect: waterproof matches.
Waterproof matches. I gotta admit, I've never given them much thought.
Really? Well, imagine this. You're out in the middle of nowhere, it's pouring rain, you're completely soaked, and all you want is a fire.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see why those would come in handy.
Exactly. In that situation, waterproof matches could be a lifesaver.
I see your point.
And here's the best part. We found this Spanish tutorial video showing how to make them.
A Spanish video. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is. So, are you ready for a little language immersion?
Absolutely. Let's do it. But what kind of crazy equipment do we need?
It's actually surprisingly simple. Just a box of regular matches, a candle for the wax, and something metal to melt the wax in, like a DIY double boiler.
Oh, okay, so we're not building some complicated contraption. That's good.
Nope. And the process is pretty straightforward, too. The video shows us how to melt the wax and dip the match heads right into it.
I see.
Once it cools and hardens, you've got a waterproof coating.
Huh. That sounds almost too easy.
Right. But here's the thing. They actually test these waterproof matches to prove they work.
Oh, so they don't just assume they'll work?
Not at all. And to make it super clear, they even mark some of the matches, so you can tell the difference between the treated and untreated ones when they do the water test.
Wow, that's attention to detail.
Right. They want to make sure there's no doubt.
So what happens? Do the waterproof matches actually light up after being soaked?
Well, first they try to light a regular match that's been in the water.
And I'm guessing that doesn't go so well.
Nope, it's a total dud. But then they take a waterproof match straight out of the water and strike it.
Is it light?
It lights right up. Even after being completely submerged, it's seriously impressive.
Wow, that's amazing. Such a simple process with such a big impact, but it makes you wonder, how does it actually work? What makes the wax repel the water like that?
That's where the science comes in. And for that, I'm going to hand things over to our expert.
All right, let's get scientific. The key here is something called hydrophobicity, which basically means that the molecules in the wax want nothing to do with water molecules.
So they're like oil and water, they just don't mix.
Exactly. So when you coat the match head in wax, you're creating a barrier that keeps the water out and protects the flammable part.
It's like giving each match its own tiny raincoat.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And you know, it's funny. The video creator mentioned they were pretty skeptical at first.
Oh, yeah, like those life hack videos that seem too good to be true.
Exactly. But the fact that they were skeptical and it still worked makes it even more convincing.
It's like the ultimate proof.
Right. So we know how to make these waterproof matches and why they work, but what does all this mean for you, the listener? Why should you care?
That's the big question, right? What makes this more than just a cool trick?
Well, to answer that, we need to go a bit deeper, and we'll be doing just that in part 2, so stay tuned.
So we're back, and I'm really curious to learn more about these waterproof matches. Like, how important were they historically?
Well, you know, this isn't just some random internet trick. This goes way back. Like, think about explorers, people like Ernest Shackleton, stuck in Antarctica. They needed waterproof matches.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. I never thought about it like that.
Right. And back then, they didn't have fancy lighters or anything, so protecting those matches was crucial for survival.
Makes you really appreciate those early explorers.
Totally. It shows how resourceful they had to be. And the amazing thing is, this technique, it's not just for survival situations. It can be used for other stuff, too.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, think about it. You can use it to protect electronics from getting wet or preserving old artifacts. You can even waterproof fabrics. It's all about creating that barrier that repels water.
Wow, I had no idea. I'm seeing waterproof matches in a whole new light now.
It just goes to show, you know, sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective.
Absolutely. I love how we started with this one little thing, and now we're uncovering all these amazing connections.
Me too. It's what makes these deep dives so fascinating.
So true. But, you know, going back to the video, the creator seemed really passionate about sharing this technique. Why do you think that is?
I think it's about empowering people, giving them the skills to be self-sufficient, especially when things get tough.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like a way of saying, hey, you can handle this, even if things go wrong.
Exactly. And it also builds a sense of community, like sharing knowledge and helping each other be prepared.
It's like those survivalist groups that are all about helping each other thrive in the outdoors.
Right. It's all connected.
It makes you realize how much we take simple things for granted, you know?
Like matches.
Exactly. We don't really think about them until we really need them.
This whole deep dive has been a great reminder that the best solutions are often the simplest ones.
Couldn't agree more.
But I think there's even more to it. Something deeper, something beyond just the practical side of waterproofing.
Oh, okay, now you've got me really intrigued. What do you mean? What's this deeper layer?
Well, for that, we'll need to shift gears one last time, so stay tuned for part 3.
Okay, we're back, ready to uncover that deeper layer you mentioned.
All right, so remember how we were talking about taking something ordinary, like a match, and making it stronger?
Yeah, waterproofing it to make it more resilient.
Right. It got me thinking, what if we could apply that same idea to ourselves? Like, what if we could waterproof our own, inner selves?
Whoa, okay, I like where you're going with this.
We all face challenges, right?
Right.
Like storms in our lives. But if we can make ourselves more resilient, it's like we're waterproofing ourselves against those tough times.
I've never thought about it that way, but it makes so much sense.
Right. It's about building up that inner strength, that ability to adapt and overcome whatever life throws at us.
So what are some ways we can, waterproof ourselves? What are those inner resources we can tap into?
Well, it's different for everyone, but some things that come to mind are things like mindfulness, building a strong support system, learning new skills, even just having a positive outlook.
So it's like we're creating our own mental toolkit to help us through those tough times.
Exactly. And just like with those waterproof matches, sometimes the simplest things can make the biggest difference.
Yeah, like just taking a moment to breathe or reaching out to a friend. Those little things can really help.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into waterproof matches, we want to leave you with this question. What are the matches in your own life that could benefit from a little waterproofing?
What skills or habits or mindsets could you strengthen to help you face those challenges?
It's something to think about. And remember, don't be afraid to experiment, push your boundaries, and share what you learned with others, because knowledge, like fire, is strongest when we share it.
Well said. That brings us to the end of our waterproof match journey.
That's been a great exploration.
Absolutely. We hope you've enjoyed it and maybe even sparked some new ideas of your own. Until next time, keep those mental matches dry and your curiosity burning bright.
Farewell.